Hello, friends. Welcome to Vlog 2 for Escape the Readathon, where we open with me scrambling because I had already started a book at work and then came home, was editing the last vlog to get it put up today, and then, whoops, we opened another door and the prompts have changed yet again. And so now I gotta figure out if I can make this one count, if I can make my audiobook count. I was not expecting us to open another door for at least another day, which I guess is kind of the whole like excitement of the readathon. But now I'm like, crap, I do have some other options. I will get back to you when I have figured it out. I have asked a mod and it counts. Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs by Caitlin Doty will work for a singular point of view because this is essentially her talking about her career and the questions she has been asked by children about death and bodies, because yes, she is a mortician. If you have seen her YouTube channels, the book is very much in the same vibe, very much that kind of relaxed, yeah, we're talking about death to make it less scary type thing. Very humorous vibe. And also, I don't know if I can like, come on book. Aha, yes. There's very cool artwork at the beginning of every chapter. I'm vibing with it. It was weird to be reading about corpses on my lunch break, but we made it work, and I can definitely finish this tonight because I didn't log anything for the pool. I honestly thought we had a lot more time for the pool. Was a little caught off guard by this, but I will get at least one book for the game read, and you can count on that. I have finished Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs by Caitlin Doty. It was weirdly adorable for a book about death with chapters on cannibalism. Most of the information I already knew from watching her channel and or having an obsession with ancient Egypt. Although the fact that they actually found one of the brain removing tools still stuck in a mummy's skull. Okay. But it was weirdly cute for what it was talking about. Very voicey. The author definitely puts in her specific tonations and stuff, and you can hear the YouTube video that she would be listening to while you do the dishes or whatever. But I am happy to have this logged and done. I have now officially finished 2 books in 2 days. Hello. And then I realized after I edited and uploaded the first vlog that I have not done anything with my spread. And looking at it, I'm a little nervous I'm going to run out of room because I have already read 4 books in 7 days. So the break worked, taking April off. Fantastic job. Good job, me. It worked like a charm, but that means I'm going to run out of room. Regardless, it is time to move on to the next book or books because, yes, I'm doing the stupid thing again. It didn't work in the last vlog, but sure, it'll work this time. Regardless, because we have to get a mystery prompt, right? We don't know which 2 of the 4 prompts need to be fulfilled to unlock the door or, end the game, whatever. So I'm going to go for 2 of the ones that we have not been entering as much for, mostly because a lot of people don't know what's a debut, but I have a secret weapon. I am a reviewer, and in a lot of cases, authors, when they request reviews, will just tell you that their book is a debut. So we are going to go with one of my review reads. 13 County Road 666 by C.L. McCollum is a queer urban fantasy set in a trailer park. And when I saw the phrase queer trailer park fantasy in my email, I almost decided on saying yes before I'd even read it. Because hello? I like this. This is schlocky queer fun. Always on board with that. Yes. And I don't know much more than that. I know it's like the protagonist is a woman that has to run the trailer park with werewolves and stuff. So I'm expecting a lot of good schlocky fun. That's what I love about urban fantasy, mixing the mundane with the supernatural. It's one of my favorites. But of course, it's a review book, so I can't take it to work with me. Now, I am still going to keep Rule of Extinction from last time on the back burner as an audiobook. So if I'm doing the dishes or just need an audiobook to do something else, we're going to go with that because I do still want to enter it for a book somewhere, some prompt, who knows? Regardless, I am going to take a different book with me to work. Hopefully this works this time because in the last time when I split my reading between a library book for work and a review book at home, I didn't finish either books. But The review book is a queer book, and the queer books are always the exceptions. Okay. Second of all, the other book that I'm going with is When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi, which is one of my anticipated reads. This is for a book that is the same amount of words in the title as your last read. Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs has 6. When the Moon Hits Your Eye, 6. This is a satire on disaster stories, all about the moon magically turning into cheese. It is multimedia, so it is told through various points of views as everyone is trying to come to terms with the moon actually being cheese now. John Scalzi reads tend to be very, very quick for me. He tends to have a very light writing style that works really well for me. I read almost all of his books in 2 days or less, so that works really well. Although, again, I'm only going to be reading it at work or that in that time before work in the morning. So, like, not sure. This may backfire on me again because I don't have backup prompts for these. Like, I don't have a room picked. So I might have to like pause these, read for the room pick, and then come back to these if they count for a different prompt. Maybe that's the strategy. I don't know. I just know that I feel bad that I didn't do anything for the pool because I did not expect it to take us less than 24 hours. Sometimes being the panicky team pans out, okay? But I will come back tomorrow after I have gotten something read somewhere. And hopefully we won't have already beaten the game by then. Hey, do we want another surprise for the vlog? I have Bell's palsy. Yeah, that was a fun little realization today. I woke up with just the most bitter taste in my mouth. Could not rinse it out with nothing. Nothing I ate or drank could stop the bitter taste from coming back. And then I thought to myself, hey, my mom told an interesting story where everything tasted really bitter one day and then she woke up and couldn't move half her face. I should probably look into this. And by the time I had decided, okay, we're going to hit up urgent care after work, the little bit of a numbness started on the left side of my mouth. And the nurse practitioner at the walk-in clinic was honestly surprised by how quickly I caught it. You can't even really tell right now unless you compare the way that I can move each side of my mouth. Like this side, I can be like really easily. And then this side, it's like, it's much slower. So that was a fun way to spend some time. And of course, being me, I was reading in the doctor's office and I was like, oh, I can vlog. I can add some content in the doctor's office. Silver linings and all that. So I had already canceled my flute lesson for the week, and the flute lesson next week was already going to get canceled. So I'm going to put in some extra practice time to see if I can get real good by the time I can go back. At least I hope I can, because, you know, if this gets much worse, I don't know how well I'm going to be able to play, but okay. I start the full regime of steroids and everything tomorrow morning, and they're supposed to come with a slew of fun side effects, so we'll see if work even happens. Regardless, I did get halfway through When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi. It did belatedly occur to me that I need this to be the next book I finish, or else the whole read a book with the same amount of words in the title as your last book wouldn't count. So I can't finish another book before this one. Sorry, review book. At least the weekend is coming. Regardless, I really enjoyed this one. It jumps around a lot to different politicians and scientists, but also to newly hired workers in competing cheese shops in Wisconsin flirting with each other. So it's all over the place. Some of the stories are only tangentially related to the moon suddenly turning into cheese, and we have not yet talked about how it happened. I don't know if it's going to be one of those books that just never really tells you, or we haven't talked about like the bigger implications of it yet. Everyone's still just kind of like coming to grips with it. And of course you have the people that are like, it's the work of the devil. The devil has grabbed the moon from God. The devil owns it now. Like, you know, I'm a pastor's kid. That tracks. Like, I'm sorry. I grew up with the, you know, that J.K. Rowling had her books blessed by a black priest, like that shit. I would totally believe that someone would claim a moon made out of cheese is the work of the devil. Good work, John Scalzi. Regardless, I definitely think that I can finish it tomorrow, depending on how I'm feeling. I have no idea what this situation is going to be like when I wake up tomorrow, because according to my mom, it was pretty much go to sleep, wake up, panic. At least I won't be totally panicking, obviously, because I'll know what it is and have the meds for it. But It's fun, just a lot of surprises in this one. So I will check in with you tomorrow, either after I've gotten something read or just to give you an update on the everything going on in my life now. Hello, it is Friday. I did call into work today just because I wasn't feeling great this morning. I had a lot of heart racing, probably from all the meds, and nausea. That might have been from anxiety. I don't know. Thankfully, I didn't have much worsening of symptoms overnight, although I had a terrible sleep as I kept waking up and be like, can I move my face? Can I move my face? And yes, I can still, thankfully. And the steroids have helped a ton in giving me a lot of movement back. It is now much easier to move the side of my face. Of course, this is a ear infection-like scenario where you do not stop the meds just because you see improvement. You do the entire regime of medication. Otherwise, you're just going to go back. And especially with Bell's palsy, like, the steroids aren't a cure, they're a treatment. They're to keep what would be happening to your face as low as possible. And I'm really thankful for that right now, even though it is giving me a lot of jitteriness right now. I did read a little bit of When the Moon Hits Your Eye. What page am I on? I'm currently on page 236. So, enjoying that. However, I was having trouble just sitting and reading, and now I'm like, I want to get up and do things. I want to do all of the things. I want to fucking clean my house. I see why athletes want to use steroids, because, like, I have considered whether or not to work out, because it's like, I'm not feeling that bad. So maybe, I don't know. But I got to figure out, I'm going to try to finish this. The only problem is I don't have access to any audiobook. It's not in Spotify. It's not in Libby. I don't even know if it's out yet because this is a fairly new release, and I really don't want to take one of my Libro credits when it's that much of the book left. So I might end up just pacing the house, reading it. I don't know. But I am very glad that I went into the doctor when I did. I am experiencing probably the least amount of symptoms of Bell's palsy it is possible to experience, because I got it diagnosed and the meds, like, basically as quick as it is possible to get the meds. So if we've learned anything from this, it's if you feel the bitter taste in your mouth for a day and you can't get rid of it, and that numbness, go. Immediately. Go. And it could get worse. I was on the Bell's palsy subreddit because, of course, I was, and someone said that it could get worse before it gets better. I can still move it. So not looking forward to that. But I am still taking more meds. I have the antiviral 3 times a day, which apparently has been done in studies to show that it helps with Bell's palsy tremendously. So yay for scientific research helping our bodies. But I will check in with you when I have done something. I have finally finished When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi. It took me until the late afternoon because I just didn't want to do anything. I did a lot of crochet and unwinding of crochet projects to rewind into balls. So there was some stuff, but mostly I love this book. I mean, I kind of knew I would. I love John Scalzi. I've read, I think it was my 4th book I read of him, and I've might have given all of them 5 stars, so I kind of knew, but I was interested because in the acknowledgments it talked about how this book is, in the author's mind, kind of part of an unofficial trilogy with kaiju preservation. Okay, the Bell's palsy is still affecting me a little. Kaiju Preservation Society, and then Starter Villain, and then this one, in the author's mind, is all one specific trilogy, because it's all about people in the average world trying to come to grips with some random in-your-face weird thing, which I love. And this one is definitely one of those books where it's not actually about how the moon turns into cheese. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but, like, do not go into this book expecting an explanation on why the moon turned into cheese, because that's not the point of it. The point is to examine people's reactions to it and how different reactions would pop up in different places. So it's not really about the science. It's about the social aspect, which I love. I had the history degree, not a science degree, so it tracks. It was awesome. There were so many things where I was like, that would happen. That would happen. At one point, a celebrity tries to sing Imagine and gets a chair thrown at him. It's great. He knew exactly what we needed. But at the end, when it's turned into a much more like immediate doomsday scenario, like not just, oh, a weird thing happened, but like, no, we have an issue. And like, there's very genuine talks of grief and what would the end of the world even look like? And what would the planning for the end of the world even look like? And what would you do? Like, it was so intense emotionally, which might be why I love John Scalzi's book so much, because I love the juxtaposition of silliness with seriousness. Like using a silly premise to examine very serious concepts, which low-key kind of feels like what I'm doing with my current work in progress, because it's technically a Regency era death game story, like Hunger Games meets Bridgerton, but it's talking about how different people react to corrupt people in power. Maybe that's why I love John Scalzi so much. It's a wavelength thing. But I really love this, and I'm kind of bummed that the next book, according to the acknowledgments, is going to be more high sci-fi, which I should love, right? Because I like sci-fi, but I don't know. I love his weirdo contemporary work. Although I did like Red Shirts. Was a very big fan of Red Shirts. So maybe I like that one more. I did enter this for one of the prompts. Still no sign that we win the game, but I'm getting the gist that Mediums is much better at opening doors than beating games. I'm getting that gist from us as a team characteristic. I have some other stuff I gotta go do, but I probably will start the review book tonight. However, I gotta go get a cake and a card because my husband is technically graduating with his master's degree today, 4.0. We both have a 4.0 on our masters. That's how you can tell we're a nerd couple. We argue about which citation style is better, Chicago or MLA. Chicago till I die. Regardless, I will come back to you if I read a little bit more tonight or tomorrow to go to the Scholastic Book Fair for adults. But I'll tell you more about that later. First, we must safely hide the cheesecake in the fridge and then start dinner. So we had dinner and some cheesecake. It was very tasty. Good job, me. He also did love the card and the cheesecake. It was a very sweet moment. And I got 55 more pages of 13 County Road 666 by C.L. McCollum. I don't know why I am having so much problems remembering that title. Maybe I'm just bad with addresses and it transfers over. I don't know. I did enjoy the quick read. Those 55 pages went by pretty fast. And we do have our big incidents. A bloodied woman is found in the creek on the trailer park, and it looks like it might have been the resident werewolf, but no one knows. There's still a little bit of debut author exposition-y-ness in some of the ways that things are explained, but not too bad. I've read from a lot of debut authors, and I've read a lot more severe exposition writingness from debuts. But regardless, I don't know if I can finish this tomorrow because I have a pretty busy day again. Like last Saturday, it's a lot going on. I have training for my new volunteer gig at the Blood Donation Center tomorrow, and I have hopefully the farmers market, and we are going to go to the Boozy Book Fair, which is, as it is marketed, a Scholastic Book Fair for adults. No idea what it's going to look like. I just saw the local indie store promoting it, so I was like, okay, we'll try. But that's across the river, so it's a little bit of a trip. But I should have time tomorrow night. I'm just a little bit worried because if we do beat the game before I finish this, there's not necessarily an instant prompt that this would work for. Well, maybe a popcorn read. I need to get more review books read. Like it's been so long. My review list is getting really big to the point where I think it now is almost making up half of my TBR with how small my TBR is. So we'll work on that, and I will come back to you tomorrow. Yes, I will be vlogging part of the Boozy Book Fair for everyone interested. I've already been asked in the Discord to do that, so I will check in with you then. I'm so tired, and I did all of it to myself. I woke up at 6 to make sure that I had time to take my meds before I went to my training for my new volunteer gig. But even then, I'm probably still going to have to go back because I didn't actually get a chance to train with an actual person there to register because, like, they were really dead first thing on a Saturday morning, so there was no one to register. But then I got home just in time to then turn around again to go to fitness.
and work out on the rowing machine. Went super hard. Had a little bit of the steroids jitters after that, where I was literally like shaking my hand just to keep moving. But that's really the only side effect I've been having. In all honesty, the meds are working freaking wonders. I am so close back to full movement of my face. It's just a little bit harder to move this side. But seriously, I cannot stress this enough. Bitter taste, that perpetual bitter taste that you can't get out of your mouth, any slight facial numbness, get your ass to the doctor. I have heard the stories of people who waited much longer. Go. Anyway, so then I came home just enough to shower and get ready. And then we left again to go to Sam's Club and get a bunch of stuff and then come back home and then left again to go to the boozy book fair and grab dinner. And I was such a big fan of the boozy book fair. There were several vendors that I knew before. There was one awkward moment where there was an author that I recognized from other events that I had DNF'd their book and unhauled it. So I'm like, don't see me. Do not perceive me. Do not remember that I bought your book. But there were some old favorite vendors. I got to talk with the owner of the bookstore I went to for Independent Bookstore Day, and they explained to me that their stock was so sold out that they not only had to ask for donations for their used books section, but they had to drop $5,000 in orders just to restock. We love to see it. They ran out of almost everything from the specialty drink they concocted to all of the stuff they ordered from like the Independent Bookstore Day org. Like, it's great. I was so happy to hear that. And I discovered there's another indie bookstore in my general vicinity that I didn't know about. And I pride myself on knowing about those things. But they're about an hour drive away, which for us is fine. We love going to like small towns an hour away or so and doing like a day trip to check out all of their local businesses. That's like our fun. We don't get spendy very often. Most of the time we're on very tight budgets, but that's only so that we can save up to do those fun local spendy trips. So that's going to be on our list to hit up that town. I believe it's called Anthology Books in Geneseo, Illinois, if anyone is interested. And he was so smart about it too, because he brought all of his personal 5-star faves like in his stock to make sure that like he could hype all of them up. And he had such a range in his reading taste. This man was reading everything from Stephen Graham Jones to Abby Jimenez. It's great. So I'm really excited for what the stock of his store looks like when I actually go there. But this does come with the added benefit of I decimated my book budget a lot. Like, I might have to go in a book buying ban for 2 months to make this up. And I know everyone's going to be like, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. But like, yes, I do. Because we just bought a new car. And this is probably going to be the very strapped for cash summer, at least for us. But I also just like the books I got. And also, I so badly need to catch up on review books anyway. So this is my penance. It's going to be the month of June, all about review books. And then after, we had to go to the mall because I needed new sneakers. I had my old sneakers for 8 years and worn literal holes through them, which if you're, going to actual like fitness groups with friends, it's not healthy for you to have that. And then of course, while we were there, I had to swing through Barnes & Noble to buy a couple more installments of a manga series. So, decimated my book budget further. Maybe it needs to be 3 months. I don't know. But I stayed within my fun money budget, and that's the very important thing. Mostly because we're canceling 2 flute lessons this month. That's the only reason I had the extra cash for it. But the book buying budget might be decimated. Fun money budget's still good. Okay? And then we went through a car wash and came home at 4. So, very tired. But of course, let's do a haul. First up, we have volumes 10 and 11 of Spy Family or Spy X Family. Never know whether or not you're supposed to pronounce the X. I love how melodramatic and silly this genre is, or this rather specific one. I actually don't get on with most manga anime genres, which is weird. But I do want to get all caught up on this one so that then I can start the anime, and that will be the one anime I will be obsessed with. I'm not obsessed with many, but I think I could really become a fan of that one. And then we had the Amalfi Curse. Why? Oh, I'm so tired. The Amalfi Curse by Sarah Penner. This was one of the ones that our friend with all of his 5-star reads was hyping up. And the name Sarah Penner sounded like vaguely familiar, but I'm like, I haven't read The Lost Apothecary, which is the one that's name dropped on here. And it's my favorite niche of action adventure stories, which is archaeology meets magic. Like, I love these searching for Atlantis type stories, and this is all about underwater archaeology with like shipwrecks, and she's searching for the same jewels that her father was searching for, and then something maybe magical happens, and I was really excited for it. And it wasn't until I got home and was looking to put it on my Storygraph that I realized Sarah Penner is familiar to me, because I read the London Seance Society and I gave it 2 stars. And I was listening to the audiobook, and I usually rate audiobooks higher. So I'm a little nervous because, again, I bought a full hardcover book new, decimating my book budget. I'm nervous, but I'm willing to give it a chance because, again, favorite niche in action adventure, and you know the cover's pretty. Is there anything pretty under the cover? Ooh, that's cool. I hope the book has that vibe, and I hope I like it way more than London Seance Society. Regardless, my current favorite, which I don't know if it will remain my favorite after this haul, but we shall see, is Real Queer America by Samantha Allen. This I bought from the independent bookstore I went to for Independent Bookstore Day. I don't think I remember seeing it there though, so it might be part of their new stock. This is all about queer communities in the heartland, aka in red states, and how, yes, red states do in fact have queer communities, and that we should not just lump all of red states as one homogenous group. I know this as a gray ace bisexual living in Iowa. Okay? And this one just goes through all of the heartland, talking about the various queer communities, so I'm really excited. I'm hoping that I can like discover something near me maybe, or just get a sense of connection to these people. I'm really excited for this one. And in general, I've just realized that I'm less likely to DNF books if they're nonfiction. Like, I very rarely remember ever DNFing nonfiction. I like learning new stuff. It's the academic in me, you know, the one that got multiple degrees. So I also love using nonfiction as slump busters. They're almost always my go-to slump buster at this point. So keeping a queer nonfiction on the library is going to be a lot of fun, but I don't know if that will be my favorite of these because we have a blind date with a book to open. This is from The Macabre Librarian, and I do love how well they do their blind dates with a book because there's always the vague description and all of that, but then there's stickers. So these, I guess we can start taking it apart now, are actually stuck to the book with their backings on with tape so that these are still usable stickers. Like, I can take this and put this in my junk journal, my sketchbook, and whatever. I love that they do that. And then, of course, on top of the stickers, let me not accidentally peel it off, we also have a tarot card. What did I get? 7 of Swords. I do not remember what that means off the top of my head. Bad pagan. Regardless, my favorite, they also come with tea. And this one is from a local tea shop. So I'm hoping I like it, because then now I know of another local tea shop in my area, which is great. Now, this is also nonfiction, because I have bought things from the Macabre Librarian in the past and haven't been the biggest fan of them. And so I'm hoping that my new buy nonfiction from these places to be less likely to DNF them will see me through here. And also, I just love the concept of this. It says, a book about the most scandalous book ever written and the absolute havoc it wreaked, or is it wrought? Either way, on society. Now, I have like a couple book ideas in my head of like major books. Like, it could be The Picture of Dorian Gray. It could be that one woman from the 1950s that wrote that super kink book in the 1950s. And can I get this off without needing scissors? Maybe not. Real quick, BRB. All right. Okay, can I open this part without the scissors? Yes, I can. All right, let's go. What scandalous book from history are we going to be talking about? Okay, The Curse of the Marquise de Sade by Joel Warner. That does sound familiar. I believe I have heard about that before. Described as both one of the most important novels ever written and the gospel of evil. 120 Days of Sodom, or The School of Libertinage, was written by the Marquise de Sade. Oh, yes, I have heard about this. The notorious 18th century aristocrat who waged a campaign of mayhem and debauchery. I do remember this. This book was hyper sexual, hyper kink. I am interested in that. I have heard this. This was actually the inspiration for that 1950s kink book that I was talking about. So, I am interested in the scandal. I love it when books cause a scandal. Although, there's got to be a book about Picture of Dorian Gray and its original gayness, right? There's got to be someone that did like the whole thing about the trial and everything. I'm not going to have to look that up too. But I am excited because now I have a bunch of cool nonfiction. I really need to read more. I don't know why I keep forgetting. I got to remember I freaking love nonfiction. I don't know why I forget that. But regardless, now we're going to talk about the reading that I have done, because it hasn't just been buying books. I have been reading them. I got to page 134 of 13 County Road 666 by C.L. McCollum. So let's talk about my thoughts on that. So the biggest thing about this book, I want a throuple. I'm demanding it. I'm asking for it. Our main character has both an adorable werewolf neighbor and a trans bestie she's been with since before the transition. I want a queer throuple. Thank you. Regardless, I am still enjoying my time. It's reading really fast. I'd only meant to read like 50 or so pages, but like the book and the vibe of the crocheting, I am working on a new project, but this insert has gone on for way too long, so I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. Regardless, I am enjoying it. I kind of can't help kind of editing it as I go because we still got that debut author thing of like just giving a little too much information. Like, no, you can trust your audience to intuit that extra thing. You didn't need to add it. Like, trust them to know that the lunch date with her mother that lives in an assisted care facility will be at the assisted care facility. You don't need to like clarify that every time. Or you don't need to clarify that the boss is paying for something because it is the estate's problem. Like the boss paying for it says that. Like that kind of thing. I keep editing it as I go, which might be the review brain talking. It's been a really long time since I've done a full review book. A really long time. But regardless, there's a lot of potential. I give debuts a lot more leeway just because there are some things you don't figure out until you've done it a lot. So I can't really fault for that. But it is looking to be at least a 4-star at this point. If the mystery goes well, because suddenly all these terrible things are happening and they don't know why. This trailer park's been fine and suddenly bad thing after bad thing just going off. So I will check in with you again when I've read a little bit more, probably tomorrow, except tomorrow we have another really busy day. I don't know why I do this to myself. It's the month of May. I'm probably going to crash a little bit when summer break starts, but I will get through May. Happy Sunday. I smell like sweat, dirt, and sunscreen. But the garden is put together. Insert a quick tour of it here. Say hello to my lovelies. We have some cucumbers, some tomatoes, also tomatoes, but this is an experiment to see if this pot works. Spearmint, strawberry, green beans, and green beans. We're not sure if this kind actually needs the trellis thing. Another experiment. So we went to the little gardening center this morning, got that all put together, and didn't take me too long, a little bit longer than an hour, but I'm tired and starving. So I think before we do any reading, I need to grab a snack and some chill out time, and then we can jump in. I am thinking though that if I just like really push through, really vibe with the crochet as I read on my tablet, that I probably could finish this today because we still haven't won a game. I'm a little bit worried about it. So I will check in with you in a little bit. I have finished 13 County Road 666 by C.L. McCollum, making my streak of not reading review books finally broken after like 6 weeks. That's fine. Regardless, I loved this one. Honestly, if it hadn't been for that writing style wonkiness, it probably would have been a 5-star. And that's just, average debut author stuff. Regardless, I had like 80 pages just fly by before I even like paused for dinner. And I was also just vibing with the crochet. Regardless, I loved the reveal of our antagonists and of course the mysterious other antagonists they were working for, setting up our series. And I still think we're a go for the throuple. I saw some hints. I saw some little things, some little mentions, and I was like, I want it. Regardless, Miss Mix, I never know with she, they pronouns, author McCollum. If you would like to send the next book, my inbox is technically open. I definitely need to get my review books down. That's what June's for. Regardless, we still haven't beaten the game. And Lexi dropped by the Medium's group chat to drop a helpful hint that it's because of the Game Masters. Apparently, the Game Masters are reading a lot, and that counts against us. So happy for them. And that also means that we're probably pretty close to beating it. We have very high numbers, very even numbers across all of the prompts. So I don't know what to pick for tomorrow because I always like to have a book picked ahead of time. But I don't want to pick one specifically just for the game and then have us beat the game. So the general idea right now in the chat is, okay, have one picked for the game that could also work for a door. And this one works perfectly, except you can't see it in this lighting. But this is A Stroke of Midnight by Laurel K. Hamilton. This is book 4 in the Mary Gentry series, and I can fly through these. They're great. They're basically poly-erotica about a fairy princess who can only get the throne if she gets pregnant, because in this hierarchy, the king or queen must be keeping the fertility of the fae alive by keeping their own fertility alive. And so it's a lot of sex scenes, but also there's like intrigue and court politics, and it's such good melodramatic Shakespearean fun. I love it. And it counts for 3 of the 4 prompts in the game, and it's a popcorn read because we're tracking for theater next, and we're gonna get that one real quick. I already know we are. I know we're going to race through that. We already have a habit of racing through doors and then getting stuck on games. It's our curse. Although I think it's similar for other people too. Oh, also, I totally forgot. I just found out that there's someone else in the readathon that lives in my city. Cool. Yeah. We're not besties or anything yet, but like, awesome. Someone in the booktube community in my area. Hello. Davenport's not that big. Regardless, I have so much other stuff to do tonight that I still have to do for my Sunday reset, but I will check in with you after work tomorrow when I have gotten, hopefully, a decent chunk of this read. And hopefully I will be able to tell you that we did, in fact, beat the game, but who knows at this point.
Hi, it is after work on Monday. We have still not beaten the game, and I think today's the day when the inevitable frustrations with the game mechanics are coming to a head, because not only are they randomized prompts, but there's so much we're in the dark about, yet we're still supposed to strategize. And also, I'm getting very frustrated with the walking it back tone that I'm getting a lot. Okay, so we had our big vote on what to do with the pages from the library. Put it towards a game or a room, and it got really heated. It was moving really fast, and we had very little time to vote, and a lot of people did not understand what they were actually voting for. They thought that we could choose the door if we went with the door, but no, you can't. So it was very frustrating, but most importantly, I'm a little bit frustrated with what I see in a lot of readathons, which is readathons are prepped to psychologically encourage you to read a certain way. That's just how they work. You are psychologically prepped to follow certain prompts or whatever, or read a certain way, or read a certain amount, or read a certain size of book. That's how they work. And my frustration is when people set up the readathons and people are like, okay, I gotta read a certain way, but then they suddenly try to walk it back like, oh, no, you don't have to. Like, yeah, I don't have to do the readathon at all, but the readathon encourages certain things, and we need to accept that, that's what a readathon does. It psychologically preps you to read a certain way. And that's my biggest frustration right now, where people are like, all right, we need to read harder. And then I'm like, oh, I don't know if reading harder is going to work. And then a bunch of other people are like, oh, no, we don't actually have to read harder. And then a bunch of people are like, let's all read small books. And everyone else is like, no, don't actually change what you read. But we're still stuck in the pool. And yes, I know, it's just a game. Games can still get frustrating. So I think I'm just going to do my normal thing. I think I am okay, this might be the steroids getting to me too, let's be honest. But regardless, I am going to go back to what I would be doing if I wasn't in a readathon, which is I'm going to be splitting my at-work sleepy time read with a more serious read at home, like a review book, because I just need to catch up on them. So I'm going to be slow. I'm not going to be as much help with games anymore, but I don't know. I'm just getting very frustrated, and I am not burning out of another readathon. So I'll come back to you when I have picked what I am working on next and see where we're at then. I just realized I should probably also talk about this book. So I'm over 90 pages in, and this continues to be one of my favorite kitschy romance series. This is the OG Why Choose Romance before that was even a term, okay? Mary Gentry don't pick one man. She's got all these hot dudes around here. She is not picking one. And I love the sex as magic aspect and the wild magic running around. And now we got a murder. But not only is it a murder, but also it's bringing up all of the old memories of her father's assassination. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's schlocky. It's dramatic. I love it. I just gotta, intersperse this with some of the more like book bloggery books to make sure that I actually fulfill my promises to authors.
So I decided to follow up the gay trailer park story with a gay robots story because I am realizing that I want to put out just a ton of queer recommendations list for June. Like, I want to get a lot of books read and then like organize them all into like genres and be like best queer nonfiction, best queer sci-fi. Like, I want to get all of that out. So I need to start prioritizing those reads more. And so I decided to read another review book, The Warm Machine by Amy Kaza. Not sure. Regardless, this is all about a robot who has been given just enough CPU to do his job running a construction site. And wouldn't you know it, this sleek new model, a prototype, comes walking in. And robots don't have feelings, but something seems to be happening. And now they must escape after the labor bot's been decommissioned and find the robot utopia called Root. And god damn it, if like 54 pages in, I'm not already feeling stuff, even though it's like very robot language and a robot way of viewing things. It took my brain a minute to kind of like gel with the way it was written. But I do like that it feels other. It feels like robots rather than, just humans with metal. But this will be a very quick read. I will probably finish it tomorrow after work. But I don't think I'll be vlogging it. I think I'm going to call it here because now I am thinking a lot more about the other things that I have going on. I still have a bunch of other stuff to do this week and this weekend, and I do want to start prepping more for June and also just not feeling the excitement at the moment. Like, we beat the game, right? And usually I would have come out of here and be like, yeah, we beat it. But like, that last game was so frustrating. And I know that the second we open another door, it's going to be another game that's probably going to be frustrating again because every game has been frustrating. So like, I'm like, woo, and I'm not dropping out. I'm still going to be here. And if I happen to be reading for something that counts for a door or a game, I'll go for it, but I'm not going to push. I may end up just going towards the library or the concierge. But again, I am already like putting together the stuff I want to do next month. And so I got to focus on that for now. And so we're going to call it here. It's admittedly a bit of a downer ending, but this has just been a week. I am so grateful for where my health is at. The steroids are still a bitch to get through, but I'm managing. I am doing way better than the majority of people who get Bell's palsy do. I am so grateful that I did not let myself talk me out of going to the doctor's office when I did. That was the best choice I could have made. I have a follow-up doctor's appointment on Wednesday morning, but it is literally just let's make sure it was just literally make sure it was just Bell's palsy and not something worse. And at this point, I think we know it's not going to be, which is awesome. This is the smoothest Bell's palsy I think anyone can ever claim to have had. And I bought some fun new books. So quite the couple of days. How many days? Has it been almost a week? Over a week? I don't even know anymore. Thank you so much for watching. And with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.